Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Oh
Hard
boy.
to believe we are 4 races into the NASCAR season, but the truth is we are. But this Phoenix race feels like the very first true NASCAR race of the season, and we're here to break it all down. I'm Brady, and with me to talk a little O'Reilly Series racing is the Archduke of the DFS Army, Taco. We made it. We're here. Finally. No more plate racing, no more road course racing. We get a traditional NASCAR race here finally at the start of March. Pretty exciting to finally be back.
Back to where it all ended last year, where
Yeah.
seasons were made, seasons were ruined.
I'm even willing to acquiesce that the season doesn't even really start till next week at Las Vegas. But at this point, I'll take
I will say, if you just run, I think it stands for all 3 series too. If you just run straight up correlations between a track and every other track, just overall driver skill, Phoenix number 1. Yeah. This is what you would call a skill expression track. We love skill expression tracks.
Absolutely.
This and Kansas, the top 2. Like, how could you not love a good Phoenix week?
Yeah, and I don't. The Cup race should be great tomorrow. I haven't watched. I've been traveling all day. I've been stuck in airports. I just got home, so I haven't looked at Cup Series, but I did have about 20 hours of travel woes, and all I did was stare at the research station. So I'm pretty sure we should be locked in for this race.
Hell yeah. And if you're in a situation similar to Brady, thankfully, practices are on Prime. You can go rewatch them all you want. It's wonderful.
Unfortunately, my Canadian affliction restricts me from watching Prime. But
don't worry. I'll download the video and send it to you.
Well, TSN, baby. We can rewatch on TSN. It's
there you go. Perfect.
We got to get into this because we got 3 hours to lock. Still some time to get in some lineups. I checked right before we went live. The mini max is filling up. Some of the other contests are kind of close to filling up, but if you haven't already, still some time to get some lineups in. But we better dive into this. I know there's a UFC slate coming up, an MMA slate coming up here in about half an hour. Get you some time to go through your lineup. So you haven't joined us before, we're going to take you through a little bit of strategy, how we would approach Phoenix from a DFS perspective. Then we'll go driver by driver, talk about every single driver in the field, and then we'll do some betting picks towards the end. We'll be wrapped up here in about 45 minutes, get you ready for the UFC, and then eventually the NASCAR race tonight. But like I said, if this is your first year playing NASCAR DFS or being a fan of NASCAR, this will be much more what NASCAR is all about than the last 3 weeks. We had a couple plate races. Those are fun. Road course races is its own thing. But we're back on a true blue oval, and it's, like Taco says, one of the best skill expression type of ovals that we have. If we hop over to the historical performance, or let's go start with historical summary. This is what we like to see, Taco. Rather than fantasy points starting high in the 30s and going down, we see guys starting in the top 5 scoring the most, and then a pretty linear down all the way to the bottom.
I'd say it's even more important. Look at the season average driver rating chart and how heavily skewed to the front it is. The best drivers do well here. And practice matters. Practice matters here maybe more than almost anywhere else.
Yeah, practice can be very predictive at Phoenix, and to your point, and we'll see this when we go over the Cup Series 2 in tomorrow's video. The best drivers are good at Phoenix. You're going to see the drivers that we know are incapable of equipment and have capable ability. They're going to move to the front. And usually, more often than not at Phoenix especially, you're not going to get a surprise dominator. You kind of know who the main players are going to be in terms of domination.
And in this slate in particular, there's actually several guys up front that are viable. So that's good. It's not going to be one overwhelming chalk. You know, you may see a bit of that gravitate towards Allgaier, but he's the usual guy that leads here. But he doesn't start up front. I think that creates for a nice dynamic. You've got like Byron up there to, be the Cup guy. That's like, it's an exhibition race for him. You've got your regulars and your guys that are pretty good at the track. Just a nice little mix of things. It's a pretty good slate, I'd say, from all the lineups I've ran so far.
Yeah, and no Eric. I mean, William Byron, we've got to deal with. He's complicating the slate, but no Eric Almirola, who complicated a lot of slates last year too. So don't need to deal with that. First thing I'll point out here over by the averages by starting position. Again, if you just joined us this year, if you haven't played much NASCAR DFS over the last couple of years, This was very spread out over the last couple of weeks, especially on the plate tracks. Here you'll see our domination points almost exclusively coming from kind of the top 7, if not generally from the top 3. We don't see guys starting in the back grabbing significant domination points very often. Usually, if you were fast in practice, you were fast in qualifying, you're going to be fast in the race. Again, you might have seen if we go down to averages. This is the one I want. Averages by starting position, much more linear, very top heavy. Guys starting in the top 5 tend to score the most, and then it goes down. There is kind of a sweet spot for place differential. You see a bump kind of towards the back half of the 20 and the back half of the top 30. These are usually guys who had an issue when qualifying or, had a bad qualifying lap for whatever reason. Not a whole lot of guys in this range, and you'll see once we go through the driver by driver, not a ton of guys in this range that fit that bill. Not really all the potential dominators really starting kind of in the top 15.
Yeah, and it's pretty even once you get from like really the 15th to like the very end. Because while place differential is nice, you do start getting lapped. You can see the average laps completed. They start to drop as you get past the top 20. It's a smaller track. 1 mile track, not the smallest track we'll go to, but people will be lapped.
Yeah, much more about finding guys who have capable equipment that qualified below their capability, picking your spots rather than focusing on a guy who starts 18th versus a guy who starts 28th. It's much more important is this guy's got A tier equipment. This guy has C tier equipment. And equipment and driver skill just matter so much more than the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, this is the first week of the season where guys that start up front and do well and are fast will be racking up the fast laps as well. If you look at the first 8 starting positions, look at the top 6 fantasy point percentage of these guys, just massive. About a quarter to almost like a half of the time these guys are hitting optimal. This is where your bread and butter is going to come from, and it's going to lead to some stars and scrubs lineups. That's usually the more laps that we see in a race, the more you're going to be punting hard to afford those guys up front because dominators will be super duper important.
Yeah, certainly skewed towards that top 8 versus we saw skewed towards the kind of the bottom 8 the last few weeks. You're definitely going to want to target a couple guys in the top 10. If you set up the domination station based on what we did the first couple weeks of the season, you're going to want to stay to the end because it's a totally different setup for a race like Phoenix.
Yep.
Let's head over to the historical performances tab, sort this by yes, and then sort by race. We'll kind of get an idea of what the DK top 6 has looked like the last couple of years. And you'll notice straight away the last race of the season last year, you had 5 guys starting in the top 10. Nobody worse than 18th hit the optimal. I really, really doubt anybody hit this lineup right on, but it shows you.
It's way too expensive, unfortunately.
It really shows you how skewed towards the top this is. You go down one more. This race is a little more chaotic. We do see a little more chaos in the spring race that cars aren't as shaken down.
Even then, the guys starting in the 30s, you will see they're not going to be random ass dudes starting in the 30s. Like Ryan Sieg, super duper capable driver.
Yeah,
capable of running in the top 10. It's unlike previous weeks where especially the super speedways where you get random mass drivers finishing top 10. That basically never happens here.
You go back to 2024, again, much more of a bit of a carnagey race, but you had a bunch of guys starting towards the back. Obviously, elite equipment at the back. Kligerman, Almirola, Allgaier.
The best driver starting in the back. That's why they're able to do that.
Exactly. Again, to your point, not super scrubs, not super back markers. And then we go back here. A Shane Van Gisbergen appearance and then a Blaine Perkins, probably the biggest example of a back marker car hitting the optimal. But even then, look, Blaine Perkins
he's good at these tracks.
He's good at these tracks. He's not a true blue kind of back marker anymore. Let's start with this race last year and kind of get an idea of what we see. And the first thing you'll notice compared to what we've looked at the last couple weeks at Daytona and Atlanta, consistency. You're not seeing guys move from 15th to 5th in 3 laps. It's very much a grind. I think the biggest jump you'll see here is, again, the best at Phoenix in the Xfinity Series, Justin Allgaier able to go from 14th to 3rd in about 20 laps. Other than that, you're not seeing these huge jumps.
Yeah, what really separates this place from a track like, say, Martinsville, which is, half the size of this and also super flat. That tends to be more choo-choo train style, is where you would see someone like Allgaier perhaps get stuck back there. If you're fast and you're good, there are ways to pass people here. You'll get sorted out. Once you're sorted out, then you will kind of run very consistently. But it reminds me of a track. It's not similar to it, but like a track like Dover, where it sorts itself out pretty quickly by speed. So it's really about identifying just who the fastest car is out there. And there's no better way to look at speed this week starting off than the practice session, because everyone ran a pretty good outside of Mayer, who had power steering issues, everyone ran a really good long single tire set run. So practice really, really, really telling this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm laughing to myself here, Charles Miller. Please tell me that Retzlaff is a bad play. I don't want to play him. Thank you. I think you're going to be disappointed by my analysis when it comes up here shortly.
I do an alternative for you, but we'll get there.
We will get there. Another thing worth noting, and we'll talk about this a little bit when we get to Corey Day. If you're significantly faster than the car in front of you, you can make passes pretty easily. If you're even close on speed, it's very easy to make a guy's life miserable at a track like Phoenix, especially if your car is capable of running that middle high line, kind of the set 2.5 to 3rd line up the track. You can really, really make a guy's life tough here. So certainly something, the reputation certainly matters at Phoenix too. But I mean, we've seen Justin Allgaier drive through fields like this. If you've got a fast car, you've got a fast car.
Yeah, but Allgaier, of course, people like him. He has generally not a shithead, as where Corey Day, I think, is going to be public enemy number 1.
Yeah, we'll get there. Last thing I want to point out here, domination points, very, very top heavy. 3 guys kind of gathered up. So when it comes to talking about dominators, probably at least 2. We usually see at least 2. Sometimes you'll see 3. But if we go back to the last couple of races, even you look at Riley Herbst's domination race, what a crazy race that was. You usually see at least 2 dominators.
Mm-hmm. And last year, the spring race, we saw 3 different guys on 3 different teams. Granted, they were the 3 best teams in the series by far, JGR, Hendrick, and Junior Motorsports. But yeah, we're not going to see these. It's not just going to be manufacturer stacking. I think that's something we got to leave behind the super speedway. It's not really going to be a thing. I've been asked about it a few times. It's really just a super speedway specific thing. Yeah,
we'll get back to that once we get to Talladega. Now we can leave it in the past. Mm-hmm. What's up, D-Man? With that in mind, let's head over to the practice tab. Worth noting here, practice is very predictive, but the guys that go out early, especially on Friday, had a pretty significant advantage. The track was very fast, not rubbered up, had a lot of grip in it towards the start of that session. You saw it
had the Indy rubber on it. It's a big thing because that's why Jeb is on top.
You saw Jeb Burton go out early in that session and rip off some really fast laps. So this is a mistake I've made in the past, is not every 10th lap, not every 15th lap is created equal. It's very difficult to compare lap by lap, because the track that Jeb Burton ran his 7th practice lap on is very different than the track that a guy like William Sawalich, who went out later in the session, ran his 7th lap on. So you got to be careful with that. Also, don't get to fall in love too much with this, Jeb Burton, best 5-lap average, best 10-lap average. Very, very deceiving.
Yeah, and unlike the championship race where you saw last year, Justin Allgaier, for example, he very clearly held back in practice because he didn't want to get a read on him. They usually tend to go full out, and they want to see how much they can push these the tire pressure before the tires pop. It's kind of been more of a thing on the Cup side, but just something to keep in mind here. But everyone got a really good long run, so I like these long run numbers.
It's another thing worth noting. It's hard to make any real decisions, but it's a good thing to keep in the back of your mind. The November Phoenix race is almost a different thing. It's the end of the season. There's not a whole lot of motivations for guys not involved in the championship hunt to go and put a really fast car together. It's also, you're going from Martinsville to Phoenix across the country, last race of the season. We do see a lot of guys punting that last race. So it's almost better to go back and look at last year's spring race. And yeah, feel a great track changed and Love took over the race last year. Exactly right. And we don't know, how much Love was holding back in practice. So don't fall in love too much with comparing directly to the race that was 4 months ago at this point.
Yep. And if you look at the like the best 3 laps, you'll notice that didn't really end up correlating well to practice or to qualifying. Like Jeb Burton didn't qualify all that great. He qualified 9th. Hill in the teens. Harrison Burton, he actually did qualify okay, but Dean Thompson, Raja Karuth, they qualified way back. If you look at the guys that ran really well in the top 20 laps, those guys all actually did end up qualifying well. You've got Taylor Gray up there who won the pole. Brent Cruz in second. He qualified top 5. Burton qualified, I think, in the top 5. Jesse Love qualified second. He was 5th on the board. So, the longer averages we get here, kind of the more telling it is of just overall speed, especially when it comes to qualifying.
Something I like to do, and this is kind of something you should do at most tracks like this. I'm going to delete kind of the first 14 laps of the session. That'll do 2 things. It'll equalize the track a little bit. Obviously, like I said, Jeb Burton's 15th lap of the session isn't the same as Carson Quaffel's 15th lap of the session, but it smooths it out a little, gets rid of some of that early track advantage. And also it'll give you a little bit of a better idea of who is generating consistent fast laps later in a run when the deltas between first and second start to grow. So if we delete those kind of first 14 laps and then let's sort by best 5 laps, you'll start to see a more familiar picture. Guys you expect: Quaffle, Allgaier, Love, who was so good here last year, Byron, Gray. This feels a lot more comfortable than not getting rid of those kind of first 15 laps.
Yeah, Quapple's interesting. The other 4 are pretty much who you'd expect to be the top guys here.
Yeah.
Gray on the pole, Byron's the favorite. Love dominated last year. Allgaier historically the best. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we'll talk about picks to win towards the end, but I think there won't be anything that surprises you. Quaffle's certainly one that's jumping off the page just based on practice time and how good he was towards the end of last season, but I don't think you'll get much better than Byron or Allgaier here. We'll talk about it at the end, but those are probably going to be pretty close to the answers. And based on what Taco, Swalich is not a good play. That's going to be an interesting spot. I tend to be over bullish on Swalich, and his practice times weren't great, but we'll get into it.
I'm a hater.
Yeah,
we'll
so let's just get into it, driver by driver, starting with kind of the key to the slate, I guess. And Charles Miller brought it up at the start of the show. What do we think Byron's ownership will be? Taka, you have it pegged at about 35%. That feels about right. He starts 6th. There's a little bit of place differential upside because in theory he should be running in the top 3, but certainly domination upside. And Phoenix is one of Byron's best track in the Cup Series. Hasn't run here a ton in the Xfinity Series. I think since 2024 was his last run here, and that was pretty uneventful. But in theory, this is the rightful favorite to win this race.
I mean, we kind of had this with Bowman on the pole last year. The thing is, he's the favorite, sure. This is an exhibition race for him. That's what this comes down to ultimately. I think the field kind of understands that with him being 12K, he's not going to have the ownership of Allgaier. And I think Love will actually be higher owned with him starting on the front row right next to Taylor Gray there, having come off, winning here in the fall, doing pretty well here overall, just being good at this track type. So Byron definitely has a lower floor than everyone else in this range because at the end of the day, if he finishes last here, he doesn't give 2 shits. He's on to his real race tomorrow. So that's something you've always got to keep in consideration with these Cup guys coming down to the O'Reilly series.
Yeah, I think the big difference between Byron this year and Bowman last year, Byron is inheriting the best junior motorsports car. Bowman and Byron and all the Hendrick guys were in that 17 Hendrick car last year. That was kind of a side project. This is a full-time true blue JRM car. And, the upside, I think, for a car like that is probably a little bit higher. it didn't seem like anybody had much success other than Kyle Larson in that 17 car last year.
Yeah, that is true. And yeah, overall, you've got to think this is probably, I mean, yeah, probably up there, the top three just cars overall at this track. Of course, the others being Allgaier, and then we'll get to it. But oddly enough, Brent Cruz in the Almirola car.
Yeah. So I think I'm probably a little bullish on Byron just based on his Phoenix acumen. Little concerned about his lack of experience in the Xfinity race, but that hasn't bothered Byron much in the past. And like Taco said, for all the reasons you just said, his ownership is likely going to be a lower or more equal to some of the Xfinity regulars. So I don't mind, if I can, going to find a little bit of leverage on William Byron. What makes that difficult is when we get down to the lower end, there's not a lot of obvious kind of punt plays. So Byron does make your lineups kind of difficult.
Yeah, I think the chalk is rightfully Allgaier, and we'll get to him.
Yeah.
So yeah, at $12K, it's very expensive to pay for Byron here.
Especially when, to your point,
$500.
Yeah. $500 less salary. Justin Allgaier starts 17th. We saw it a couple seconds ago when we looked at what he was able to do from where did he start in this race when we looked?
It was like 15th, right?
15th or something. He was
spring race probably.
Yeah, the spring race. Allgaier started 14th. He was up in the top 3 by lap 20. Probably going to see something similar here. His long run pace is always incredible at Phoenix. He just has crazy ability here. Always finishes in the top 5 if he doesn't wreck or have issues. This is going to be the chalk play, upwards of 50% owned. Can you come up with a good reason to be underweight on Justin Allgaier here?
No.
Yeah. I think he has more competition for the win here. Obviously, we saw Jesse Love be really good here.
Would you say, though, there's no Almirola in this field?
I think Byron kind of fills that Almirola slot.
Yeah.
I think the optimism around Jesse Love, how good he was late race in the November. Allgaier didn't have anything for Jesse Love towards the end of that race. And then you also have to wonder how good those Haas cars have gotten in the Chevrolets. So this is the first kind of understanding we're going to get of which cars are good, because we didn't really get a good sense at the first 3 races of the season. So I think there is some competition for a win here, but it would be very, very unusual to not see Justin Allgaier compete for a top 3 and get a ton of fast laps, if not lead laps on the way.
Just a rule of thumb overall, short flat tracks, you tend to want to play the chalk. Unfortunately, it's just kind of how it works.
Yeah.
Now we're coming off of, road courses, super speedways where the chalk is not that great. Chalk is historically pretty overrated. Tracks like Richmond, tracks like Phoenix, tracks like New Hampshire, especially in the lower series when it comes to the top guys, unfortunately, the chalk is just really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, you're going to have to come up with a pretty interesting script to get off Justin Allgaier, and it probably involves him having some sort of on-track issue or a mechanical failure. If he runs this race clean, he should be well inside the top 5, if not the top 3, if not competing for a win.
It is expensive though. 11.5. That's really expensive. Yeah.
Like I said, if you can figure out a narrative in your head to not play Justin Allgaier, I think it's a good play, but it's just a very difficult narrative to tell yourself. Right below him is another really interesting spot. Jesse Love, defending race winner.
The rightful favorite, I think. I would put Love above Byron overall. Just
it's interesting, and Phil had a great point. They came out in practice, and they were the fastest car in practice in November. Then the start of that race didn't really show up very much, but as the sun went down, the track changed. They just had a perfect setup. Jesse Love was unbelievable in that race. And Phoenix, forget last year's November setup. Phoenix has been a great race for Jesse Love altogether. Never finished outside of the top 10. His first race here in the Xfinity Series, finished in the top 2. Had a lot of success here in the ARCA Series as well. He's kind of becoming on par with Justin Allgaier. I don't think RCR brings as good a car as JRM does, but ability-wise, Jesse Love is right up there with Justin Allgaier when it comes to these short flat tracks.
Yeah, and outside of getting into it in Martinsville, he's been elite at the short flat tracks. So like the end of last year, Rockingham, Iowa, Phoenix, all just right up there, even better than Allgaier overall.
Yeah, and I think something interesting about Jesse Love's driving style compared to Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier obviously has great overall pace, but he really starts to stand out on the long run. Jesse Love is just fast all the way through a run. it doesn't really necessarily, you don't look at the end of a run and say, oh, Jesse Love's fast all of a sudden. He starts very fast at the front end of a run, maintains that speed through the mid, and is still, in the top 3 fastest cars towards the end of the run. He's just so good at managing tires and equipment without giving up pace. I think we're deviating a little here, Taco. I think he's going to be a little overplayed. I think his practice session, which was good, and his November race is going to push up his ownership a little bit, but it's really easy to get to Jesse Love here. And there, like you said earlier, there's a good chance he dominates this race earlier and not kind of Byron or Taylor Gray.
Yeah, and then it's a Gray versus Love head to head. I think a lot of people will go with Gray.
Yeah.
So I think that keeps his ownership from being too crazy. Again, I have him like right there with Byron. It's sort of like that second tier option behind obviously Allgaier. So Gray, Love, Byron, pretty even overall when it comes to value expectation. I mean, that's like your entire A tier of guys in this range.
Yeah. A good chance one of these guys, Byron, Allgaier, Love, hits the optimal. It's just a matter of finding the right one. If you had to rank them, Allgaier probably going to be first just based on his place differential. Sounds like Jesse Love's your second play here.
Yeah, probably Love, then Byron, and then Gray. We'll get to Gray.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. I think I'm a little more bullish on Byron than you are, but that's based on.
Well, it's with floor included. If we could guarantee none of these guys would, run into any sort of problems, then Byron does become like right there with Allgaier, probably S tier.
Yeah, for sure.
Just
Sammy Smith priced up at a lot higher than I thought he would be. I think that's based on a Phoenix win a couple of years ago that, if I remember correctly, wasn't even that impressive of a win. Since then, kind of just been an okay play at Phoenix. Any interest in Sammy Smith starting 7th here?
Not really.
Yeah, I don't.
He's gonna be low owned, but he just seems like a step below the other JR cars.
He's another guy that's very good on these kind of flatter tracks, but this is
he's
really
like
high number.
He runs fine. He doesn't dominate is the thing.
Yeah. Interesting price. There's some interesting pricing in this range. Another interesting price is having Sheldon Creed up at 10,000. Phoenix was a great track for him back in the Joe Gibbs days, but since he's come to Haas, whether it's a Ford, obviously now a Chevrolet, has kind of just been mediocre. He starts 16th, so he has a little bit of place differential, but still kind of needs an outlier run, at least when it comes to his Haas performances here. 8th place, 7th place, which is kind of where he's finished, and that's where he was in practice. That's not going to cut it here.
Yeah, 25-1 for 10K. Like, that's pretty expensive for someone that is not priced like a dominator on the odds book.
It's interesting. I'd almost flip him and Sam Mayer's pricing, because Sam Mayer's at a discount here for some reason. But yeah, Sheldon Creed, place differential is interesting, but he's going to need a bit of an outlier run to hit the number here. Man, the news is out on Brent Cruz. I thought we would get a couple weeks of cheap Brent Cruz, but apparently everybody knows how good Brent Cruz is and is going to be. He's priced at 90. Oh, I skipped one. We'll do Brent Cruz and then go to Brandon Jones.
You can skip Brandon Jones who gives a shit.
Yeah.
No, he's fine. He's fine.
I think Brandon Jones is a fine kind of contrarian play. He's been really good at Phoenix, and he has these races where he is consistently grabbing dominator points, and Phoenix is certainly one of those candidate tracks. I just think he kind of washes out among the Byrons, the Allgaiers, the Loves, the Grays.
Yeah, definitely
easy to overlook Jones.
Yeah, and he's priced up too. He's almost 10K, which he probably should be more like Sam Mayer price here.
Brendan Jones is just kind of like, it's like Ben Rhodes in the Truck Series. Just every once in a while he pops off, and it's very frustrating, very hard to predict.
For sure.
Like I was saying, Brent Cruz, I think one of the best prospects in the sport right now that's not named Connor Zilic. He starts 5th. Like I said, this is crazy pricing. I thought we'd get a little bit of a discount. I think his reputation is preceding him a little bit here, and I think the 19 car has been so dominant here with Eric Almirola. Eric Almirola, Brent Cruz is not, but I still think there's some upside with Brent Cruz. The concern here is just how green he is to the series, and he's only 17 years old. These races have proven very difficult to put a full race together at that age if your name's not Connor Zilic.
I mean, yeah, it's just Almirola fucking ruled here. he dominated from last place. I think last year in the spring race, he started like 4th or 5th and just immediately just dominated the whole fucking race.
But that's more of an Almirola thing than a 19 car thing.
For sure. And he's always been good at the short flat tracks. It's just, Brent Cruz, again, not even 18 yet, so we really shouldn't have odds for him. Have to go offshore to find odds for him. But yeah, the word's definitely out. He's getting priced up. Could be the JGR. I mean, maybe at this point you could damn near say, maybe not this week with Taylor Gray, but he's going to be the number one car for the JGR crew here, rest of season probably.
Yeah, I think we're going to get some Brent Cruz domination, and sooner rather than later. I would be surprised if it came at Phoenix in his first kind of Xfinity start here. Like I said, only 17, made his debut last weekend at COTA. I think it'll take a couple races for him to get his bearings.
Yep. Again, he's priced up so high so early.
Yeah, crazy.
I was hoping we get like some low 8K Brent Cruz just because, lack of name recognition, but no, they're definitely pricing him the fuck up with the other JGR.
Do you remember that drivers. First Ty Gibbs race at Daytona Road
5400 Ty Gibbs Dominator? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How do we get
where is that, bro?
5400 Ty Gibbs,
give us some of that.
9600 Brent Cruz.
Insane. No, they're on top of it now.
Yeah, I guess they've sharpened up. But yeah, Brent Cruz is going to be a super driver this year, I think. It's just a little too much too early for him at 9600.
Yep, just too green, unfortunately.
Taylor Gray starts P1. We saw Taylor Gray have a ton of success in qualifying last year, and it really started to manifest into good runs towards the end of the season. Obviously, Martinsville was the fastest car at that race. Had some other great runs at some short flat tracks. Good at Rockingham, good at both Phoenix races last year, top 6 or top 7 in both of those. Really becomes a question of Taylor Gray versus Jesse Love off the rip here. Maybe Brandon Jones if things get weird, but good chance that we see Taylor Gray or Jesse Love dominate early in this race.
I mean, if you look at this race last year, like the most recent race, the fall race, Gray ended up giving it to Jones. They both started front row. Jones had the pole. It lasted 8 laps. He gave it to him, ended up dominating a significant portion, maybe not dominating, but led about 40 laps or so, ran pretty well. Things have been up for Mr. Taylor Gray after, kind of a rough start to his Xfinity career. He's really coming into his own.
Certainly seemed to find another gear towards the end of the season last year.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the fact they've already got Cruz priced above him is all right, but
worth noting too, if you sort this by driver rating at this track, Taylor Gray is top 4, and for a long
Chandler
time,
Smith is not in that equipment anymore. She's top 3 realistically.
Yeah, great point. And Taylor Gray really struggled at the start of his Xfinity career. And he was still putting out really great performances at Phoenix. So this is a great track for him. There's a really good chance that he dominates all of this race, but certainly the first stage. Let me go back here.
Certainly, his price is going to put him firmly in play because, I mean, lower 9K Dominator starting on the point here. You can look, the pole sitters here have done fantastically. Yeah, they average 53 lead laps, 24 fast laps, optimal 58% of the time. I mean, it's hard to go wrong with a cheap pole sitter that is in very, very, very capable equipment.
Yeah, and could easily put Taylor Gray up in the Sammy Smith spot and still be a great play. So to get him at a discount of 9,400, easy guy to get leverage on. Gonna ruin your day if he gets jumped by Love at the start and just kind of runs 3rd to 5th all day, but won't kill your day as long as he can stay inside the top 10 or top 6 at least. And that seems like a pretty likely path for him.
Yeah, I think the most likely build will probably be Gray Allgaier or even Gray Allgaier Byron. You can make that work.
Yeah. Austin Hill starts 13th. Whatever Jesse Love has at Phoenix, Austin Hill did not inherit it. Phoenix has been a pretty just mediocre track for Austin Hill. Consistent top 10, but never any domination really. He was really slow in practice. I don't know if they were trying something different than Jesse Love to see if they could find something, but starting 13th, obviously some upside, pretty consistently runs in the top 10 here, but maybe doesn't carry the top 10 upside that some of these other guys we've talked about has, or dominator upside that these other guys have.
Yeah, Austin Hill consistently throughout his O'Reilly's Auto Parts Series career has had one issue with these smaller ovals. He is allergic to fast laps. He hates fast laps.
Yeah.
And he doesn't score well as a result. He'll always get a fine finish. He'll run like 8th, but he's never in contention. Like never. I mean, backed into a win at Martinsville, sure, but like that was even he was surprised by that. Like this is just
kind of chasing an outlier run here.
We're starting to push into like the C tier of guys, and I wouldn't even consider him to be a dominator. Honestly, I'd put him in the same. Does it sound crazy? Like he's on like the higher end of the tier that like Ryan Sieg is in.
Yeah, I think
looking in.
Not week to week, not season long, but certainly at Phoenix. There's just something about Phoenix that doesn't click with Austin Hill, it seems like.
Yeah, he's just very pedestrian. He's still going to be high owned because every time in this spot people play Austin Hill, if there's any place differential. People just love like overplaying Austin Hill. Someone I'm going to be firmly underweight on.
If we switch over, this is something we forgot to do. Let's switch by DK and then sort by points. What's our kind of bottom tier? We're looking like 50 points is really.
Yeah, do DK again. You said
my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want 50 points is really what you're aiming for.
Yeah, but you're gonna need them from cheap guys too, because 92, you don't want that to be your lowest scoring guy. So realistically, you probably want like 55 plus from him, and that's gonna require him to do stuff he doesn't do.
Yeah, he's gonna need an outlier
or get fast laps, which he hates.
Yeah. So yeah, probably underweight on Austin Hill here. Chandler Smith, a good fade. Yeah, I think to your point, we'll talk about Chandler Smith here in a couple, but the big question around Smith is that Hettinger ride. Certainly some questions around it. Corey Day breakthrough, another guy we'll talk about here in a second.
Jerber.
Yeah, what up, Jay?
It's my boy.
Where were we? Sam Mayer, he starts 12th. Another guy that hasn't had a ton of success at Phoenix, especially because Phoenix seems like a track that Sam Mayer should be pretty good at, but it's been pretty pedestrian runs. Had some trouble in practice, didn't get a full understanding of what he's got, but he starts 12th. I wouldn't be surprised to see him pretty low owned in this spot.
I think people will be scared off of him. He had to replace his power steering pump. He ended up putting okay qualifying together, so I would imagine they got that sorted out. Could even be a spot to attack here. Just assuming that everything is perfectly fine.
I think the track history is more the concern there.
Yep.
Just doesn't have the dominator upside that he carries at some other tracks.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem here. He's on the cheaper side of these like dominators, I guess, but he's kind of just like an Austin Hill play. He's just got the leverage angle with the concerns about his car.
Yeah, and if you don't have concerns about his car and you think the switch to Chevrolet will do these Haas cars some good, this is a discount for Sam Mayer. 9,000 is pretty low for what he can provide. It's just Phoenix isn't a track he excels at.
And he's ran here with Chevys plenty of times. It's just, never been great.
Yeah. A much more interesting play in my eyes is Carson Quaffle, who we really started to see put some good runs together towards the end of last season. He was the fastest early run car in practice, fell off to Allgaier and Love towards the end of those runs. Mm-hmm. But the thing he has going for him is in this crew chief section.
Rodney Childress.
Rodney Childress is Carson Quaffle's crew chief. This was something that Rodney asked for. Rodney's a big Carson fan, came from the Cars Tour. A lot of respect for him. Rodney Childress is one of the best crew chiefs ever. Obviously, chief in charge of a lot of Kevin Harvick's success, but also a guy who had success with Michael Waltrip Racing, which is crazy. He won races with Michael Waltrip Racing. He's an amazing crew chief. He makes his return here. He obviously found some speed in that Carson Quaffle's car, and I think there's a lot of upside here because, like I said, Carson Quaffle started to put some runs together towards the end of last season.
And we're almost down to like the average price of 8,300. So, I mean, this is going to be like what, your third or fourth option? You can definitely make this work.
Yeah.
If he has any sort of upside, like the finishes last season were not great, but he was running fine.
He was running fine, started to find some finishes towards the end, and these practice times are really impressive. And you got to consider too, Carson Quaffle came in as a true short track guy, didn't have any experience on these bigger tracks. Now he's got a couple runs here. That's usually when you start to see guys put it together. I think there's like top 5, top 3, if not some lead lap upside here for Carson Quaffle.
Yeah, and I mean he had good long run speed in practice. He was 4th in the 20 lap average, $8,500. Just in a JR car compared to, I mean, look, all the other JR cars are 10K above. Like this is a decent value spot.
You find a 6th place without much domination here. You're starting to flirt with the optimal. I love Carson Quaffle in this spot.
Yeah, and people don't play him. They are scared to play him for the same reasons like William Sawalich. The finishes have not been great, but he's due for some good regression here.
Yeah. Good play there. Right behind him, Rajah Caruth starts 25th. Big question here is how much JRM is this 32 JAR car? Word on the street is this is a JRM prepared car, or at least had a lot of assistance from JRM. But Rajah wasn't great in practice, didn't qualify well, and Phoenix across all series has been a pretty pedestrian track for him. I think Rajah will be a very popular play, maybe even one of the most chalky plays on the slate. But with all the things you've got to consider, I don't mind maybe being a little underweight here.
If you don't have the first 15 laps deleted, he was actually top 5 in like every metric in practice. I think he's going to be very popular as a result of that. Yeah. And with the odds books really pricing him up like he's a real car.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's hard to know exactly. I suspect this car got a lot of help from JRM, but it's a Jordan Anderson Racing crew chief. It's a Jordan Anderson Racing pit crew.
Mm-hmm.
This is, Carson Quaffle and Rajah Caruth are not in the same situation. Like I said, I don't mind being a little underweight here.
Mm-hmm. And there's a very, similar play in Chandler Smith, who's even cheaper. Yeah. You could go to maybe similar kind of concerns there, but yeah, I find that they're probably going to both be super popular in their own right as like a nice 4th play. You just do 2 punts this play and then 3 dominators. I think it's going to be super popular.
Yeah, and you might see Rajah Caruth because, like I said, there's even if this is a true Jordan Anderson Racing car, Jordan Anderson Racing is still a solid kind of C+, if not B tier car.
Mm-hmm.
So
they can run top 15.
They can definitely run top 15, and that'll get you, starting to get in the area of optimal. So, man, William Sawalich. What do we do with William?
It's all you, bro. I'm a William Sawalich hater.
You are a William Sawalich denier. I have been a little more bullish on Sawalich because you can see the speed. At times, you'll see in different races at all sorts of different racetracks, he just starts banging off the fastest laps in the field, mowing down cars, but it never manifests into a good finish. The speed is there for Sawalich. Is this year 3 for him? Or I think
2,
second
right?
full-time year, right?
Yeah.
This is about the time guys start to put it together. This is make or break time for William Sawalich. Now, listen, he doesn't have any concerns about losing this ride. When your grandfather's a billionaire, you can stay in NASCAR for as long as you want. But in terms of his upside as a true contender, we got to start to see it soon. I don't know. This is a decent price for a JGR car, $8,000 for a guy that has shown flashes of brilliance, but we've never seen Sawalich be able to pay off a 15th place starting spot in a position like this.
I'm just convinced that he's ass.
You can't be though, like, because at times he has. You see it all of a sudden. William Sawalich is 10th faster than the field.
Yeah. He's got great equipment. There's no fucking doubt about that.
Yeah, one of the best cars in the field, without a doubt. It's
I don't know, man. I'm drinking the William Sawalich haterade, and I will wear that on my sleeve. Like, so don't ask me about an opinion. I'm just a Sawalich hater. I've been right objectively since he started. Eventually, he will come around. He'll get better by brute force, by raw reps. But I mean,
yeah, we saw it with Riley Herbst. Yeah. Eventually, Riley Herbst figured it out and started winning races. Similar situation, really.
That is true.
But listen, here, let me delete the name. The 18 JGR car is $8,000 salary, and he starts 15th. And he's probably you're going to be able to get
awesome. Is Ryan Truex driving it? If so, I'm down. Like, who's driving it? That's what I want to know. Who the hell's driving it? Kyle Busch? Like,
yeah. So I think if you look at it from that perspective and assume that William Sawalich is eventually going to get better, he's getting older, he's maturing. I mean, I still think he's like, I say getting older, he's like 19, if not 20.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is a place you can get a little bit of leverage.
Yeah, that is a place you can certainly get a lot of leverage.
Jarrett says, through the drivers you've talked about so far, who is your lock best driver to draft tonight?
I mean,
Tough question
Allgaier.
without knowing specifics. Let's assume he's talking about the mini max. If you were doing like an aggressive mini max kind of situation,
It's just Allgaier.
yeah, I
There
think
you
so.
go.
I think he's the
I
highest
wouldn't
ceiling,
lock
lowest
there.
floor, or highest floor, lowest. He's the highest upside guy.
This is one of my best friends. So shout out Jared Bear. We don't lock people, bro. You played enough DFS, just driving some engagement for us. But shout out my boy Jared. If you need to lock someone, Allgaier. It's Allgaier.
And that's something I like to do sometimes, like in mini maxes or something. Like just run a super aggressive lock pick for a guy like Allgaier and treat it like a win bet.
Yeah,
something you can certainly do. Yeah, now we got to figure out what to do with Chandler Smith in this Hettinger number 5 car that we just don't have any insight into what this car is capable of. There are some clues. This is, as far as I know, the Brett Holmes racing team.
Eesh.
I
miss Brett Holmes.
Shout out Brett Holmes. That car was a solid C-tier car for most of its life. We did see Brett Holmes have some decent runs from time to time, but never anything that would be capable of a traditional Chandler Smith type of run at Phoenix.
Just delete that. Get it off the screen. Get that JGR equipment. Get that out of here. That is absolutely not what's happening here. In practice, we saw his speed be very, very front-loaded. He fell off like crazy after like 5 laps.
The other clue here is Joe Williams crew chiefing this car. Let me read you some names over the last couple of years who Joe Williams has crew chiefed for. Luke Fenhouse, Parker Retzlaff, Kyle Sieg, Haley Deegan, Brett Moffitt. Did have a couple runs with Justin Allgaier, but other than that, Joe Graff Jr., Haley Deegan again, and then before that he was running the Ford car for Haas back when Chase Briscoe and Cole Custer were sharing it. That's kind of what the expectation I have here is that kind of Kyle Sieg, Parker Retzlaff type of upside, which is still maybe top 15, but we're certainly not going to see Chandler Smith able to express his skill on the level that he's capable of here.
Yeah. Again, it's just the equipment. I mean, if Brett Holmes at 7,800, no fucking thank you. Obviously, Chandler Smith is a lot better than that, but he hasn't drove an Xfinity Series much at all recently.
Yeah, this is a huge step down in equipment for Chandler Smith, and there's a big difference about making consistent speed in a Joe Gibbs racing car versus this car, which is kind of a Brett Holmes racing type of car. Big difference. We've also seen Chandler Smith get frustrated at times when he's not as fast as he should be and kind of crash out. So I think there's a lot of risk in this spot.
He's gonna be high owned too. Like I'm taking Raja over Chandler if you make me pick straight up for sure.
Yeah. If you switch Chandler Smith into this JR car, then it's a different equation.
I love that, yeah.
It's just until we see evidence of this Hettinger car being anything more than kind of a C-tier equipment, it doesn't matter who you're going to put in it. Just not a whole lot of interest.
You ready to talk about some terrorism?
Corey Day starts 8th, the most hated man in the series right now, I think.
Austin Hill's best friend, taking all the heat off of him. New piece of shit.
Yeah, he's had 3 races in a row where he has made a ton of enemies. The one thing I will say about Corey Day, say what you want about his, the amount of trouble he's having finding a ton of issues. He's finishing well. He's got 2 top 5 finishes this season. But again, like we talked about earlier, Phoenix is certainly a track where guys can make it very difficult on you. And Corey Day seems to not have a whole lot of friends in this field.
Yeah, and the guy right after him, this pricing list here, Ryan C. You better hope he doesn't run into him at any point in this race. He has made so many enemies over the start of the season. It's actually been hilarious. And it's it's not even him being. I mean, they're like dumb mistakes, right? It's not like super egregious, right? Like we've seen worse. It's not like he's wrecking people out on purpose, but breakthrough. I don't know. Someone's gonna break through his fender.
I think we're going to see Corey Day figure it out. Corey Day is obviously very talented, and you can see it in the same way you can see it at times from William Sawalich. I think Corey Day has expressed skill more consistently than William Sawalich has had top 5 runs, has been the fastest car in certain runs. Obviously, this Hendrick number 17 car is A-tier equipment. It's just a matter of Corey Day putting it all together. I think we can rule it out, him being the next Kyle Larson. Larson had figured it out by this point.
He's not beating the Thanasis and Antetokounmpo allegations with him and Larson.
But I do think we will get to a point where Corey Day is much more of a kind of 9,000 range play consistently.
Mm-hmm.
But starting 8th at Phoenix, when at least 25% of the field, if not more, hates him, it's hard to talk yourself into.
No, this is a complete fade. There's no path to optimal for him unless he does have some sort of breakout lead laps. And I just do not see that with so many better cars ahead of him. There's just no way.
Yeah. And Corey Day is a dirt tracker, a true dirt tracker. That skill translates to certain ovals, but Phoenix wouldn't be one that you would see him all of a sudden break through at.
No, not at all.
Ryan Sieg in a Chevrolet starts 18th. Phoenix hasn't been one of the standout races for him. He had an okay run here in a Ford last spring, but other than that, it's been outside of the top 10. Again, just another kind of situation where we don't know what we're getting. You know, I was kind of surprised to see the switch to Chevy because I thought Ryan Sieg and his whole team was becoming the belle of the ball at Ford with Haas leaving and all that. But he moved to Chevrolet too. I don't know. I just don't know what to expect out of this equipment.
I'm shocked his brother qualified better than him. It's hard in this spot. It's awkward because he might get a little bit of play stiff, right? It's just the DNF risk is always there with him.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just don't really see a path to the optimal for him. Guys starting in this range, especially in the salary range, have historically never done anything.
Yeah, probably a guy you want to match the field, if not be a little underweight on. And if it turns out that these
skipping this range realistically, because this is a stars and scrubs sort of slate, so this whole range is going to be a lot of whatever.
Yeah. If we see that Sieg in these Chevrolet cars give him something that he hasn't had the last couple of years, then it's a different conversation. But I think you can wait and see with him.
Yep.
Harrison Burton moves to a Toyota. He starts 11th. This is an interesting spot, I think, especially when you're making stars and scrubs lineups, because I do think we've seen Harrison Burton take a step forward in worse equipment than this. I think the move to Sam Hunt Racing is a net positive versus what he was running in AM racing gear last year. And he had some decent runs. With Harrison Burton, it's always just the long run pace. You're always just worried about his long run speed. He just burns gear up really quickly.
Yeah, and the problem with the Burtons this week is they were the first two cars out on the track with all the Indy rubber, and they were just cleaning up the laps. Like the first 5 laps just boosted their practice numbers so much.
Yeah,
which should get them some ownership. And they don't deserve any ownership starting in this horrible spot for them, where they're starting too high up to get any play stiff and starting too far back and just aren't in good enough equipment to lead laps realistically. They're just in the DFS dead zone.
I think the optimism here is this is a boat where Burton was running in the AM racing gear. Mm-hmm. If this Sam Hunt Racing gear is a little bit of a step up, then in theory he's got top 10 upside. But still, he needs to run probably 6th to get you to 45, and that seems pretty unlikely.
Well, he also needs to be like 6K. Like you're not playing anyone the 7K range on this slate. It's just not how these high lap short tracks have gone historically. You're punting.
So another guy, not a fade by any means, but probably not looking to get much leverage on him. Taking over his car from last year that he consistently ran about 11th in is Nicholas Sanchez, who starts 19th. Phoenix has been not a great track for him. His average running position is 15th or outside of the top 15. Probably going to be close to 20% owned. Still kind of need to ups an outlier type of run from Nicholas Sanchez here.
Yeah, again, he's in this range. I don't really care about him. Not starting far enough back to really get you play stiff. Not going to lead laps. Just still in this dead zone. Has probably a little bit better. I don't know. It's still hard to get a read on him because he's actually running pretty well in this equipment. You'd figure it'd be a big step down for him, but I don't know. Just this range is really awkward overall.
Yeah, for sure. And I think regardless if this is a lateral move or a step down, he wasn't running great at Phoenix anyway in big machine racing gear. So would need something of an outlier here. Jeb Burton starts 9th. His ownership's going to be inflated and still probably won't break 10% based on that early practice run going out earlier. Any interest in Jeb here?
Yeah, I mean, he was quote unquote at the fastest lap in practice, best 3 lap, 5 lap, 10 lap average. Not real, fake news. I'm not playing him. I like Jeb. I'm usually a Jeb truther. He fucking sucks at this track. Also, like there's no reason for me to have him even checked in the DS.
Yeah, different story if he qualified in the 20s, but starting 9th, just tough path to the optimal. Dean Thompson in the 26 team car with Harrison Burton. He starts 23rd. Hard to get a read. We talk about Dean Thompson a lot. Like, biggest turnaround in reputation, maybe in Xfinity Series recent history at least. He was a true scrub at one point, and over the last year or two, he has certainly become more consistent, top 15, top 10 upside type of guy. Haven't seen that manifest itself in Phoenix. Average running position of about 15th here. But even if he runs 15th, which is his average running position, that still gets you 40. So he needs to hit the top 10 to go optimal. We saw him do it twice at Martinsville last year. Probably the first play in this range that starts to be somewhat interesting.
And he's another guy that with the Burton cousins was out there early, has really good practice times on paper. But he's in the 6K range. It is starting to get interesting, starting a little bit far back enough where you could see him doing all right. If he even sniffs like the top 12, he should be a really good play. And that's in the cards for him, I'd say. Again, yeah, he's not wrecking as much anymore, which is terrific. And the equipment's pretty good. This is where it starts to become all right, but still just kind of in this range where you'd want to punt just a little bit more overall if you really want to get like the Allgaiers of the world.
Hiddleston, maybe clear your cookies. I just checked it. It's up for me. Clear your cookies, refresh, try that. If not, maybe Upper Slad, message Upper Slad on Discord. He might be able to help you, but seems to be working for me.
Ready for the most overpriced player on the slate?
Yeah, Austin Green priced.
What are we doing here?
At 6,600. I like Austin Green, but this car, 1, concerned. Austin Green on ovals, 2, concerned. What are you? A top 15 hits the optimal here. We've never seen him run anywhere near the top 15 at any oval outside of the ARCA series, so probably not much here.
No, absolutely nothing here.
Unless this Peterson car, this 87 car, all of a sudden turns out to have a bunch of juice, but I don't think we've seen any evidence of that.
No, let's talk about some real plays here.
Yeah, a couple of real plays coming up. Patrick Staropoli starts 28th, had about top 20 speed in practice, ran top 20 at both Martinsville races, which does share a little bit of correlation with Phoenix. I think Patrick, obviously a lot of ill will towards Patrick Staropoli just based on how the whole Nicholas Sanchez situation played out in the offseason, but I like Patrick Staropoli. I thought he ran pretty well in his Spire starts in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series last year. I think he has some ability. I think there's upside here.
Yeah, I like his play. I really do.
I think it's probably capped. To see him drive into the top 12 would be a bit of a surprise. But if he runs 15th, you're starting to talk about in the 40s, depending how this race plays out, especially if you're doing kind of a stars and scrub kind of run. I think this is a very viable play, which brings us to
what I like about Patrick Starr here. He ran the most laps in practice.
Yeah, getting a lot of experience. Obviously, they're invested in him, and what I like about him. Didn't grow up in a racing family. Didn't grow up with money.
Yep.
Went and made his own money and bought a race car. Isn't that just the dream?
The exact opposite of William Sawalich. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a Patrick Starr fan.
Yeah. So shout out him. Very playable here. And a guy mentioned earlier wanted us to talk him off of Parker Retzlaff. If we're gonna do that, it's gonna have to come from you, Taco, because I think Parker Retzlaff is a fantastic play here.
I mean, look, I can't, bro. He's got a teammate that qualified top 5. Like Viking, not a bad team, turns out.
Yeah, whether or not they've made some step forward or Di Benedetto was really holding them back, or Parker Retzlaff is just better than anybody thinks he is, and I think that's probably the most true. A lot of pace in practice, didn't qualify well. That's fine. But Parker Retzlaff is and at tracks like Phoenix, just a guy that can grind out kind of decent top 15 finishes, just runs better than his equipment every time.
Yeah, had 11th here last year. Had a fucking third place finish at Rockingham. That's real, bro.
Yeah, an average running position of 20, top 20 in the gear he had last year, and I think this Viking Motorsports gear is turning out to be a little bit better. So
and the
a lot
price,
of upside.
The price is wonderful. We love
Juicy.
this price.
Juicy, yeah. I think I'll have a lot of Parker Retzlaff. Pretty high floor as long as he stays out of trouble, and just a guy that makes speed across a run, especially in the late run. I'm really bullish on Parker Retzlaff. I think he's a guy that should be considered for a cup ride. Obviously, he won't be because the money's not there, but I think the skill is cup level skill.
We love skill. We love skill at Phoenix.
Starting 29th is Daniel Dye in another AM Racing car.
I mean, do you have a read on
I just
this
guess
car?
A PD play, really. Like, there's nothing here that'll get you excited about Daniel Dye.
I just don't know shit about this second AM car at all.
Yeah. First time they're running a second car. Daniel Dye brings in his own cash, so he's obviously paying for the gear. Hard to know where this car came from, how much resources are behind it. We don't know. Certainly a step down from colleague last year, and he wasn't running well here in colleague gear.
Yeah, I just don't know what to make of this play, and it's really up to conjecture. It's kind of a wait and see sort of thing. So
yeah, match the
grab
field,
a splash,
maybe.
but yeah, I'm not really taking a stand one way or another. Not enough information.
I find myself being a little bearish on Daniel Dye in this situation. Like I said, I think this is at best a lateral move, if not a step down in equipment versus what he had last year, and he wasn't running great here.
You gotta have a reason to play guys starting so deep in the field at a place like Phoenix, or else they're just gonna get lapped.
Our king, Brendan Poole, DFS cheat code, overqualified. But still maybe a viable play.
Not his track, unfortunately.
But I mean, still at 6,100, he's gonna run inside the top 20. If
this started a touch too high, bro. It started 20th. That's harsh. Yeah, that is harsh, and it's like one of his worst tracks. Yeah, now, get him starting 27th. We're back on this. Like, I'll play a little pool. I owe bro thousands of dollars at this point.
Yeah, I think it's just a situation where he's going to kind of run where he starts. His average running position here has been 20th. He finished 18th, 17th, 20th. And it just kind of seems like he's going to run 20th.
Yep. And if we're just going to be punting like this, we may as well punt harder unless there's something really like his ownership similar to Maggio, something we're going to talk about. The odds similar too. I mean, why not play the guy starting 17 spots farther back?
Yeah. Cup Series driver for Hendrick Motorsports, Anthony Alfredo, will start 4th for some reason. Incredible qualifying run, but kind of priced himself out. Not a great DFS play.
I mean, what can you do starting 4th here?
Shout out though, what an opportunity for him tomorrow in the 48 car.
Definitely, and you can. We'll talk about it tomorrow. It might be in play starting so far back. Probably not, but good on him for stepping in, being the guy as usual.
The Hendrick sim driver. So apparently that sim work at least manifested itself into a good qualifying run, but I would be surprised to see him hang in the top 5, in the top 10 even. I think
he's a very, very easy on check, but shout out Anthony Alfredo.
Shout out Fats Pasta. Mason Maggio starts back in 37th. It's a DGM car. This is the Josh Williams car. We've seen Josh Williams had decent top 25 runs in this gear. Mason Maggio is not a bad driver. We've seen him run inside of the top 25. I think this is a viable punt. I wish he was a little lower salary. 5,900 seems high for a guy that doesn't have a ton of Xfinity experience and isn't driving great equipment. But this is D+, C- gear. Like, certainly top 25 upside here.
Yeah, I mean, Maggio, just like his owner Williams, who unfortunately didn't make the field. They both got screwed by being like the first ones out there in qualifying, and that just cooks you here. I mean, there's nothing you can really do about it. So he starts way in the back. I guess if you're gonna do place differential, at least have it from the very, very rear. He's gonna have a limited ceiling, of course, but almost a little expensive for a play like this is the only problem.
Yeah, it doesn't do a lot of help. Like, if you're going to do a super lineup with Byron and Allgaier and those guys, Mason Maggio doesn't do enough heavy lifting at 5,900, even starting 37th.
you'll see the field after him though is like these options are really bad.
Yeah.
The whole rest of the 5 and 4K range. So he's going to be in play, unfortunately. Again, you're seeing a lot of red in the ownership here. It's true. It's just these guys are not projecting out really well outside of one that we'll get to.
Yeah. Jeremy Clements will start 21st, kind of in a similar situation as Brennan Poole, but maybe not the upside. Just starts 20th, kind of runs 20th.
Yeah, decent history here, but he has not ran up to his track history the last couple of years. You've seen his career kind of take a real downfall.
Yeah, he's struggled the last couple of years.
He's just dumped through cars. He's just out of, I don't know if he's out of money or whatever, but dude has just been deleting cars left and right for the last couple of years.
Yeah, if there's any upside, was okay in practice, but that is shaded. He went out earlier, I believe. So we should see him run around 20th. Anything higher than that would be a bit of a surprise. Josh Bilicki starts 33rd. Average running position of like 28th in this car, I think. So not a ton of upside without some carnage. Had some decent runs last year in varying degrees of cars. He runs everything. Hard to make much of his track history at any track. A fine play, but another guy that's just not low enough price to really get you what you want out of the top of the board here.
Lap traffic.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bilicki, but you're lap traffic.
Probably a little bit carnage dependent. And there's some better punt plays down here. Kyle Sieg starts 10th.
Yeah.
Wow, but no.
Very cool, Kyle Sieg. Not playing a single share, obviously.
I wish you were starting 30th.
Yeah, I love him.
But starting 10th, not a realistic path.
You know who is starting 38th?
Yeah. I don't even get an opportunity to glaze Josh Williams here because he's not even making races these days, like you said. Had a bad draw.
Man. I mean, he just got screwed. He could have made it, but first to go out is tough.
He was fine in practice too. I was looking at him, hoping he wouldn't qualify well, but he qualified a little too bad.
Yeah.
Ryan Ellis will be the premier punt play. He starts 38th. Kind of a guy, a step down from your Brendan Pools and your Jeremy Clements, but capable of running in the top 5. Average running position here of about 23.8. Didn't run very many laps in practice. That's par for the course. Ryan Ellis has a ton of experience. He doesn't need to be banging out laps, but we kind of just know what we're going to get. He's going to run 20th to 23rd probably. And at this price, he's going to be a very popular play because you're going to be able to steal maybe 35 to 40 points out of a guy like that.
He's starting last, but he doesn't have last place speed. He just had a tire go down, so I don't mind this at all. I mean, he's a clear punt chalk. It's going to be hard to get away from him. He just rates out so much better than everyone else in this range.
I think
lower 5Ks, you kind of got him. I mean,
yeah. The concern is to get leverage on Ryan Ellis, you're going to have to play him at least 30, if not 35%, and that certainly doesn't feel right.
Yeah, the question is like who the hell else are we playing down here? The only one I can see is like Perkins, I guess. He's starting 26th. Yeah,
we can bang through a couple. Team car Nathan Bird starts 32nd. Very slow in practice and not a ton of experience. Probably too carnage dependent there. Blake Perkins is interesting. A guy that doesn't run well, but always avoids trouble. Finishes much better than he runs. He's probably the next viable after Ryan Ellis, I would think.
Yeah, he's starting up a little high, but he is like someone that is significantly better at short flat tracks than other track types. Yeah.
Has run top 25 here 4 races in a row. Had a top 15 here a couple of years ago. So definitely some upside there. Nice guy to get a little bit of leverage on and helps you make some of those bigger lineups. Joey Gase starts 35th. We know exactly what we're going to get from Joey Gase. He's going to finish 25th to 27th, probably. He's going to score you 25 points, probably.
Maybe worse.
So, yeah, fine sprinkle play, pray for some carnage, but doesn't jump off the page. LeVar Scott rolls off 30th. Another just kind of fine punt play.
I don't mind Scott.
He had some good runs in the ARCA series at Phoenix. The gear, it just isn't great. These APR cars have never really been that great.
And Pool's good. This car has always been a step down.
Yeah, that's
car,
an important distinction.
And yeah, he's kind of struggled with the Xfinity car making the adjustment from the ARCA car.
Yeah, I wish he would get in an opportunity and better equipment, but yeah, fine play to get a little bit of leverage on. But again, Austin J. Hill starting 34th. We've never seen him finish a race, let alone run to pay off this spot.
He's had one good race ever. Yeah, he came top 20 at Watkins Glen, and that's it.
Yeah, so sprinkle play at best. Garrett Smithley, wish he qualified a little worse because I would have loved to play Smithley at 4,700.
Yeah, what is this?
Starting 22nd, not much upside here.
Nope. And then Cram is bad. Cram is dog shit, right? I guess the case for Cram would be you're trying to cram Dominators in because it's 4,500.
Yeah, and listen, Cram is picking up a paycheck here. This is a paycheck from Mike Harmon Racing. They are going to collect their $4,000 for finishing 36th, then they're going to go home. Yeah, with this super carnage dependent and even some start and park risk.
It's just no carnage at Phoenix is the problem. If there is carnage,
exactly.
It's like 2 cars that go down. Like
unless you piss off Jeff Gordon. No carnage at Phoenix.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's even some start and park risk here with this Mike Harmon car. And with Mike Harmon being the crew chief, didn't even hire a real crew chief. There's a good chance this team doesn't run a full race.
Yeah, they just run min speed. Like it's not ideal. There's a reason it's 4,500. So if you have to play Cram, you may want to reconsider like your 4th or 5th option there.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I think your viable punt plays Ellis, Perkins, Joey Gase to a lesser extent, and then LeVar Scott I think is a little bit viable too, but that's probably the range. So there it is. All 38 drivers are ranked and talked about. Derek, Duffy, Caruth, or Quaffle. I prefer Quaffle for sure in that situation.
I think Caruth got a little upside just with the equipment.
There we go. Some dissension. Yeah. I legitimately think Carson Quaffle has like fast lap dominator upside, but I'm just too much of a Rodney Childress truther.
I could see it. It's not the strongest it takes in mind. I think we'll see some good shit out of Quaffle. Probably more at the intermediate tracks, though, than these short tracks, at least initially.
Real quick, let's set up the Dominator here. I know guys want to get out and there's a UFC slate starting, and you guys got to get your lineups in. Let's do a quick 150 run. Taco, how are you setting up the Dom station here?
Well, I think I have the top 10 set as Dominators off the rip. I would probably mark Allgaier as a Dominator and do at least 2. At least 2.
Allgaier. Dom settings, at least 2 players.
And that's gonna give you some stars and scrubs, but realistically that's what we're going for here.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of Ryan Ellis, let me tell you that.
And you've already unchecked Alfredo and Jeb Burton. You could even go through and I'd probably leave Smith, certainly Cruz, maybe Byron. Yeah, I think this is probably right. Go ahead and switch it to tournament mode. We'll leave it at 1 unique for Phoenix. Randomization, we can probably keep pretty low.
Crazy. Yeah, like 10%, really.
10.
On the lower side, because this is about as predictive of a race you can imagine. I think I have Richmond as the most predictive race overall, but Phoenix is like top 3.
Yeah. For back marker rule, can sort by percent ownage, and any guy, all these 3% guys you can put into a player combination rule. And
I look like 8%, yeah, and do at most 1.
Put all these guys in a rule and then at most 1 in all lineups. I won't do that now because it'll take a minute. But other than that, you can leave this stuff as is. Don't need to make any adjustments there. Let's just optimize, see what that gives us. 150 lineups in about 10 seconds. Obviously very bullish on Justin Allgaier. As bullish as you on Raja Caruth, certainly more bullish than I am. Jesse Lovett loves Chandler Smith. You probably want to get that down a little bit, but it loves the track history here and is betting on the uncertainty of that car. Ryan Ellis, it's bullish on, which makes sense. Right, kind of got to get to Ryan Ellis to afford these top of the line guys. Wants to match the field on Byron and Taylor Gray. I don't know, it seems like Deezus is hedging his bets here.
Yeah, it really doesn't want to go full on hardcore punts. It's not playing as much like Byron, because the punts are just bad. It's kind of the problem with this slate, and you don't want to play too much Ellis. It's really the only one that sticks out as like a good play. And if you go to like the upper 6K range to get the better quote unquote punt plays, You don't have to sacrifice your Byron shares.
Yeah. So once to hedge its bets here, probably it just believes in Justin Allgaier, and that's probably fair.
I mean, what more evidence do we need to see from him at Phoenix?
Let's hop over to the odds board, and they do have odds up. Perfect. William Byron, the overwhelming favorite. Justin Allgaier at plus 600.
He was 700 last night. Just doesn't feel right. Yeah,
It does.
The quote unquote
Certainly,
practice, and then him starting back in 17th.
Certainly,
but, I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, Byron. I think those. I still don't think those odds are right. I think Love is the favorite.
Yeah, I think that's a little short for Byron. Plus 225 seems short. We don't have any top 5 or top 10, but based on Quaffle being plus 3,000, if any other books have top 5 or top 10 for him, that might be interesting to me. Anything viable in the Corey Day, that's probably too short for him. He's probably going to get bullied. So Wallach at plus 5,000. Can I talk anybody into it?
You can talk yourself into all you want there.
I think the best play on this board is Allgaier at plus 600. That seems long.
Oh, he tends not to win at Phoenix. Has kind of been his thing recently. He used to win a lot. He's been pretty. I mean, look at his finishes there. He's been kind of stuck on the outside leading or outside looking in, but he leads a lot of laps.
Remember this race where he finished 29th? He like blew a tire with 2 or 3 laps to go. He was out front by 5 seconds.
Yep, he always gets up there. So for DFS, there's really not much of a worry. He gets tons of fast laps. For the betting card, though, I guess I could see why his line is there. But yeah, they really believe in Jesse Love. And then Byron, of course, just gets the cup pricing.
Yeah. I might take a shot at Allgaier at plus 600.
Sam Mayer, not interesting in a good way. I mean, I guess you could take this as evidence that his power steering issue is perfectly fine. So I like a little bit of leverage in DFS, just kind of based off this. You think about it, 5th favorite on the slate, like low 9Ks.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting, and certainly speaks to what we were talking about earlier. Like you could easily switch Creed and Mayer's salaries. Like Creed's plus 3,000, Mayer's plus 800 with practice trouble.
Yeah, if you're American, don't bet on Brent Cruz. It's illegal. Can't do that. Can't be doing that.
Question for you, Taco. What are you thinking for overall percent ownership?
I think that I don't give a shit because Chalk is really good at these predictive short flat tracks, and especially in the lower series, and that's my opinion of it.
There you go.
The Chalk is great.
We will end it with, as I see a knockout in the UFC. Fantastic. Woo! I won't spoil it in case people are watching it later. Win picks. What do you think?
It's just Jesse Love. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Man, I know I have Byron marked as the fave in my notes, but
are you going to say William Swalach?
No. I'm going to say Justin Allgaier just because I want to play that plus 600 and I'm going to play it. So I'm going to go with Justin Allgaier.
There you go. I feel like he hasn't gotten the wins recently here, but he's been the best car like a lot, like in 40% of these races since 2020.
There you go. Done and dusted. If you're not a DFS Army member, head on over to dfsarmy.com/NASCAR. Link for that is in the bio. Get access to all the tools we use today, including the notes where we break down every single driver for every single race. You could also get access to the Domination station where we just spit out 150 lineups in about 10 seconds. And you also get access to the Discord where we talk about this stuff 24/7. There's some really smart people in that chat. Very useful. Get signed up, dfsarmy.com/NASCAR. We will be back tomorrow around noon to break down the Cup Series race. I will go back and watch Cup Series practice. We'll be much more prepared than I am now for that race. And the spring race of Phoenix is always kind of fun. So that should be a good show.
It's a good race. You should definitely tune in. Cup Series especially. We've had some great spring Phoenix races.
Carson, host of our breakout race.
Oh, could you imagine if Corey Day and Carson, host of our, win back-to-back? I think Dale Earnhardt would actually come out of his grave to congratulate him.
I think I like I said, I haven't watched practice. I was watching timing and scoring a little bit, but I think we're going to have to talk a lot about Ryan Blaney.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter when you ask me who's going to win this race. I'm going to say Ryan Blaney. So
yeah, I stopped at my dad's on the way home, and that was the first thing he said was Ryan Blaney is going to win the race tomorrow. So
Yeah, some Penske car will. We'll see.
We will talk about it tomorrow around noon. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't liked the video, like the video. Do us a favor. But until then, Taco, you're responsible for saying the words for the rest of the season.
Yeah, helmets up, baby. Let's go make some money on tonight's O'Reilly's Auto Parts Series. Race at Phoenix. See you later.